this is Radmila and this is my channel Self-Start USA, and today I want to talk to you about a bit of an unconventional topic on this channel. I want to share with you my experience living and working in New York to my experience living and working in Amsterdam. I'll be comparing basically my US experience and European experience because I know that a lot of people who are watching me are planning to move or travel around, so I just really want to give you a bit of an overview of how was it for me and why I would choose living in Europe if I could over and over again. So a bit about me, I'm originally from Ukraine, and in 2016 I moved to New York to study for my LLM program. I spent 2 incredible years in New York. I absolutely loved it, and then I moved to Amsterdam. I'm living here for the past 5.5 years, and I gotta say my journey here has been very rocky. At first I kind of disliked it a lot. It was so different from my city where I lived in Ukraine, Kiev, from New York. It was just so drastically different, and I will explain to you why. In the beginning, I absolutely hated it, but now it's been 5.5 years, and I gotta tell you, I see a lot of benefits of living in Europe, particularly in Amsterdam, and I will share them with you. A bit of a disclaimer, I'm here just to share my own experience living in New York and living in Amsterdam. I recognize that you can have absolutely different opinions and different experiences, and that's absolutely fine. Also, to those who feel very protective of New York, I gotta say right away, I absolutely love New York. I miss it. I miss its drive, its energy. It was incredible. By far, like the best 2 years of my life. However, I would still choose Europe to grow up and get old. And now I'm gonna tell you why. So reason number 1 is hustle energy and work-life balance. In New York, there is a feeling of this go, drive, energy, hustle, hustle, hustle. You go on streets and everyone is like busy on financial district or everywhere. They're getting their coffee and they're going, and you feel like you're a part of something bigger. You feel like you're a part of something incredible, and you also need to go and hustle. And I gotta tell you, I'm a very ambitious person. I love my job. I work basically 24/7. I work in evenings, I work on weekends, I work on holidays. My job basically is my life, and I absolutely adore it. So moving to Amsterdam to me was such a different experience. Like, wait a minute, you actually should take breaks? You actually should have some rest? Wait a minute, there is a notion of burnout, and you actually can get there if you keep working like this. For example, majority of people in the Netherlands, they work 4 days a week. Some of them work even 3 days a week. This is not even half of the people. This is the majority, and that's absolutely normal not to prioritize your job to the same extent. Here you prioritize more your quality time with yourself, your hobbies, spending time with your families, going on vacation, traveling, because everything is so close. And to me, it was such a big difference in the beginning, and it was very weird and foreign because I was also like, New York, go and hustle. But now I really see the Dutch point. It's incredible how Dutch people are just able to shut down their laptop whenever it's sunny, even if it's like Monday at 2 p.m. They're like, you know what? It's sunny in the Netherlands. It happens so rarely. Let's go to the beach. Let's go sip a cocktail. Let's just go chill. And they are one of the happiest nations in the world. You think it's because they don't hustle? It actually might. Second reason, employment and job security. So I was studying in New York for 1 year. I studied to be a lawyer, then I passed New York State Bar, and for 1 year I worked as a lawyer in a law firm, basically on Wall Street. In the US, there is employment at will, which means that you can basically be fired at any point without a warning. In the Netherlands, there are 2 types of contracts, temporary and permanent. And on both of them, you cannot be fired just randomly at any day without a notice. For example, in temporary contract, you can be fired, you can be let go, but then they need to give you at least 1 month notice. And on permanent contract, you basically cannot get fired at all. And here's a trick. Your employer must provide you with a permanent contract after 2 years of temporary contracts. So your employer cannot keep giving you temporary contracts. They must either let you go or move you to a permanent contract where you cannot be fired basically by any means. Well, it's really hard to fire a person on a permanent contract. And that gives you a lot of job security. For example, to go and sip a cocktail at 2 p.m. when it's a sunny day in the Netherlands. Another thing about employment is that you can have a lot of paid vacation days. In the Netherlands, if I'm not mistaken, there's around 4 weeks of vacation that you are by law allowed to take. In New York, there was no mandated paid time. I actually remember approaching my legal team on my very first few weeks in a law firm, and I was like, guys, how many days off do you get? Because I was thinking about planning my vacation so I can go back to Ukraine to see my family, and those lawyers basically laughed at my face. They're like, wait, what? Vacation? You are a first-year lawyer. The first-year lawyers don't get vacation. Like, the best you can get is like 8 days per year. And I thought to myself, wait a minute, 8 days per year? Basically, that will take me just a day to go to Ukraine. Then it'll take me 2 days of jet lag time in Ukraine until I adjust. And then I already need to go back literally in like 5 days back to New York. So I was like, interesting vacation. Another thing, there is also no maternity or paternity leave in the US as far as I know, which are mandated and paid by your employer. I'm sure there are some companies that provide it, but in my experience in New York, there were no companies that I was aware of at the time. Here in the Netherlands, you have actually at least 4 months of paid maternity leave. Moreover, husbands, men also get paternity leave to stay with their children for some period of time, and that's absolutely paid off. Furthermore, there is actually a law that prohibits your employer to fire you if you are burnt out or if you get sick. And that means that if you are sick on a permanent contract for the next 2 years, your employer will have to pay some sort of salary to you. They can get that money from taxes, from the government, but the whole thing, they can't fire you just because you are sick or you're tired or something medically happened to you and you just can't come to work for 2 years. That's actually not so good for employers. I understand it, but it just provides so much job security in case something happens to you. Third reason is tipping culture. I know in US, a lot of waiters rely on their tips to cover their basic salary. In the Netherlands, tips do not really play that much of a role. They do not really contribute that much to the salary of waiters or waitresses in restaurants. In the Netherlands, tipping is really nice, but it's not that expected. You can leave some tips, but again, they will not harass you for not leaving a tip. I remember a situation in New York where I miscalculated and I left a little bit below what was the norm in the restaurant, and I left the restaurant and the waiter would approach me and literally ask me point blank on the street when I was already walking away from the restaurant, like, do you realize you left less than you were supposed to? So could you please, give me a bit more? And that wasn't really a request, it was more like a demand. So I followed and I adhered to that demand, but it was very uncomfortable to me. There were also numerous other situations in restaurants when waiters would approach and ask, sorry, I saw that you left a 10% or 50%, but not 20. Was there something you didn't like? And to me, it was just a bit foreign. It was a bit weird. I understand this is a completely different culture, but in the Netherlands, it's just so much more relaxed. You can leave a tip if you want to, if the service was outstanding, if it was great, if you really enjoyed it, but you will just be comfortable to know that no one will harass you for leaving not enough, or no one will judge you and immediately stop smiling to you. Fourth reason is that it's so easy to travel in the Netherlands. Basically, all European countries are so close by. You can take tickets for literally 40 euros and go to Paris. You can take tickets for 50 euros and fly to Germany or any other country. It's so easy, it's so available, and it's pretty cheap. Also, if you are a European citizen, you do not need visa. You can travel everywhere and you basically can plan to be at any place on a different weekend at a time, which is so incredible. When I was in the US, I also traveled a bit. I went to Washington, to Philadelphia, to Boston, incredible cities, absolutely loved it, but it definitely took much more time to get there. The fifth reason and the last is cost of your education. As I told you before, I was an international student. I moved abroad to study law. US education is extremely expensive, both for international students and American Americans themselves. I know a lot of students who take a big loan and then they need to pay it out once they graduate. Some students graduate with a loan of more than $200,000, which is insane to be paying out. I hope the degree is worth it. I know that a lot of prestigious universities in the US are definitely worth it. They will open up a lot of opportunities for you, which is incredible. However, that amount of debt just makes me nervous only when I think about it. In Europe, education is much cheaper. For example, for international student in the Netherlands, that would cost you around 20,000 euros per year, and you can still apply for scholarships. If you are Dutch and you live in the Netherlands, it would cost you only 2,000 to get education per year in that university. So imagine a Dutch student needs to pay only 2,000, but international student needs to pay 20,000, which is still less than around $40,000-$50,000 in the US per year. Having said that, after 5.5 years, I really see the appeal of Europe. I really see it as like a haven when you can, go on pension, you can enjoy life. It's really great to live here. The energy is a bit more mellow, it's more cozy, more relaxed than in the US. At least my experience is like that. New York will forever be in my mind, that incredible time when I was just in a mood of hustling and getting absolutely crazy about my job and just striving to achieve more. That drive still remained with me in the Netherlands, but I learned to chill a little bit more, which is definitely better for my mental health. Again, sometimes when I miss that drive, I really want to go to New York, and hopefully maybe I can go. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If something resonated with me, please leave that in a comment. Do not forget to like, comment, subscribe. It will really mean a lot to me. So thank you all for being with me today, and I will see you very soon. Goodbye.